You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts, Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to The Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, June 12th show. I'm flying solo today without my co-host, Keelan. You can also listen to our show on podcast, our Facebook premiere show, or our show YouTube channel. I am your host, Tina Mitchell, flying solo today. It is a great day to talk about money, and that is what the show is all about, how to make money, save money, so you can have a better quality of life for you and for your family. If you are listening to our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. We are here to answer any questions, or more importantly, to connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And now on our show, we have Doug Peterson of Get Priorities Straight, Marriage and Money Made Easy. Sounds like a really great thing right here at 1150 AM KKNW. Doug, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, and a little bit about Doug. Get Priorities Straight partners with clients to create cash flow clarity, build intentional spending and saving habits, and gain financial peace of mind. GPS was founded out of passion for positively influencing individuals, couples, and business owners living by helping them transform their relationship with their personal finances. Their comprehensive processes and tools give you clarity and insight into your financial situation so your funds support the priorities and values that drive you. You will gain control, reduce stress, and enjoy more of what life has to offer. And Doug, you are a regular contributor to the show for a very strategic reason. As the host of the show, we do not have anyone else that we invite in that is in your space because, well, number one, you are the best. Number two, it is actually unique out there to find what you do. So again, I just really appreciate your contribution of time, your wealth and experience that you provide to our listeners. So thank you, Doug.
Thank you. Happy to do it.
So let's go ahead and start out with, what are you seeing in your clients that it relates to managing personal cash flow?
You know, so often the topics around marriage, so often couples didn't get married to do more administration. And so often I hear, we don't even talk about money. It's a heated subject. We just don't want to, we don't even know how to deal with it. But usually it's not that they don't know how, it's just, it's not an easy subject to talk about. And it's usually based on opinions. Like, we can't afford it. Afford it compared to what?
Yeah.
Compared to the other stuff you bought? I mean, it could be, I think it's like 57% divorces are caused through money issues.
And that's surprising. It's not even higher than that, right? Because you just hear money stress all the time in relationships. So Doug, how do you really get peace of mind around your money?
When things are opinions, you can't defend them. It's hard to say, you know, we just can't afford it. I'm telling you, you know, it doesn't help. But when you decide where your money goes and you give every dollar a job, the conversation changes completely to, oh, here's something new. What bucket should we take it out of? Instead of, we can't afford it, because you do have money. You have money saved for Christmas and bills and mortgages and car repairs. Hopefully you're saving for different things. And now it's a matter of saying, well, hey, you know, if we cut out going out to dinner a little bit this month, and we more careful on groceries this month, and we cut our spending a little this month personally, we'll have enough money together to do something else we want to do, or do it over time. So taking it from the opinion based to fact based, now the emotions are out and you can deal with it as adults.
Opinion-based to fact-based. I love that. And giving all of your money a job. If you're listening and you're running a business, you give, or you should, the best of the best do, give every task a job or they time block. And same thing with what Doug's talking about, give all of your money a job and then block it into where that is going to be spending on what area. So very important. So Doug, what are your thoughts on personal cash flow planning for things like vacation, home maintenance, investing, maybe buying a boat, or anything else that you actually want for your household?
So we've already committed our funds to lots of things that most of us don't remember. In fact, wealth managers often say that people are about 50% low. You know, you're making $15,000 a month. We've identified 10,000. Where's the other 5,000 going? But we've already committed to stuff. If you own a car, a good used car, over 5 years, you're going to spend about $150 a month on average for tires, brakes, and everything else. So if you actually decide where all your money is going that you've already committed, yard maintenance, home maintenance, license tabs, all the stuff you are spending money on, you can see how much you have left. And if you don't have anything left, you might want to adjust what you're spending so that you can get that boat. I always put in vacation money, Christmas money, date night money, personal spending. There's a lot of categories that I have that are fun.
And I know you and your wife both budget for birthday presents for each other. And
Yep.
you know, it's really crazy that, you know, majority of people, it doesn't matter if you make $5,000 a month or if you make $50,000 a month, that there's a high percentage of people that not only are even and don't have anything they can save, but as we're talking about here, are upside down. And the reason why is because that's the habit that they've created. And sometimes it's a habit from childhood and not learning how to actually manage money and the importance around money. And that's why Doug is so important to have into this show, because you actually need somebody to coach you, to hold you accountable to where you can create habits that are actually going to serve you at a much higher level. So Doug, I'm sure that you find a lot of tension around money in couples, which we've talked about that percentage statistically, which I'm surprised it's not higher. So that would actually absolutely be a correct statement, correct?
Yeah. And actually, on the comment you made before, it's not just people that are upside down. You know, it makes a lot of sense for us to divide and conquer. So usually there's one person in a marriage who's managing most of it. Well, I just got a client recently that had a windfall, and now they're in a paycheck optional lifestyle. They both continue to work. They love each other. He's been handling the money. She said he's done a fantastic job. She wants more transparency to know what's going on. So when they think of someone they want to support or give to, they can say, instead of we can't afford it, they say, well, where are we? What do we have left? So that we can manage our overhead on a consistent basis, knowing that we are now paycheck optional the rest of our lives. So it's not just getting in trouble. But the difficulty is the tension comes from not dealing with it. Let's just not talk about it. Let's sneak around just a little bit. I grew up with a mom saying, don't tell your dad. Here's $20. Go buy some paints.
Yeah, I think there might have been a little bit of that in my household with my mom as well. Well, being in the mortgage industry and, you know, helping hundreds of clients on an annual basis get into a home, almost all the time, there is one person that's managing the entire process. And many times you hear when you reach out, yeah, definitely, you know, my husband's dealing with that. And, you know, you really need to make it a team effort, just as you would in business. Think if somebody on your team has no idea what your marketing plan is. I mean, that's not going to be a successful process. So Doug, let's talk about how you can decrease, or maybe even better, eliminate this tension.
So making a decision to proactively manage your money instead of reactively managing it. And reactive is just, I'm paying the bills and this is how much we have left. And proactive is what I mentioned before. It's deciding where all your money is going to go before you spend it and watching those categories build up, having great anticipation toward the trip. We're planning a trip to Italy and France for our 40th wedding anniversary. That's fun to see coming. And when you can see money and know that you know, and this isn't about having lots of money, but knowing that you have a cash Christmas and you have no debt when you come back from vacation because you have money for it. And when you need a repair, you have an emergency fund that you've set. it just makes life so much easier. One of the easiest ways to explain it is imagine, your paycheck to paycheck, or you have 6 months worth of savings.
Yeah.
Which is less stressful if your job is going well?
Yeah, so true. And Doug has so many, I don't want to say tricks because they're not tricks. It's knowledge. It's years of knowledge and expertise, and all of the clients that he coaches on a regular basis. And, I'm not talking about miles from your credit card, but Doug can at a highest level even, educate you on how you can get, your free vacations and all kinds of just really great information to maximize the resources that you have financially. So let's talk about having a little fun, because if you can bring fun in, which I know that you do, Doug, you have a balance of education, motivation, inspiration, a little bit of fun, just like I do. So let's talk about the fun part to get couples on the same page.
So some of them may not sound super fun, but I think they're fun and useful. One is I want to feel like an adult. I'd like to have my own money to control. So we have a little fun fund that we put in money each month, and for each of us, and that just builds. Now, if you want to spend $1,000 or $2,000 on anything, you don't have to run to your spouse and ask them permission. Actually, this weekend, I'm picking up a Weber barbecue. I've wanted a Weber barbecue for a long time. My son, love my son dearly. 5 years ago, bought me a barbecue for my birthday. I was going to get a Weber, but he bought me, it was a great barbecue. I've used it, but now I get the Weber. And you just don't have to think about it. You don't have to discuss it. It's really nice having that autonomy in your marriage. But the other thing, and you mentioned miles there, our trip to France and Italy, we have 1.2 million airline miles. I don't emphasize this, but I tell people this is easy to do. I can teach you the basics. You can go online and learn a ton if you want to do it a lot, but you can really lower travel costs. Well, what's that do? That lowers your vacation costs. And when you have more money to put somewhere else, maybe a kitchen remodel or something. And it's funny, people don't just think, okay, I saved from my $2,000 trip to Australia round trip. I got it for $350. It's not $2,000. You have to earn $2,500, $2,750 in order to pay that $2,000. Well, if you're spending $300, I think I said, you got to earn $375. So it's way more cheaper than you think. Yeah. And I think the other thing is that because it's less of an issue, we go and we do planning each year, but we had so much fun doing it. We're doing it now twice and 3 times a year. Well, we used our Hilton Hotel miles at Crystalus Inn, took 60,000, or not miles, but points, 60,000 points. We stayed at this beautiful hotel up in Bellingham, right on the waterfront. And we spent about an hour in the room planning, but the rest of the time just talking about it occasionally, and then, creating a little plan of all the cool stuff we're doing and fun stuff with family. And it turns it into not just administration and crisis management. It's actually proactively planning and dealing with all the things you have to deal with administratively, but it's planning the fun stuff, the family stuff. And we like to plan a year out.
That is so great. And I know because I've read this in statistics of budgeting. People that budget have more money. When you watch where your money's going and you're budgeting, you will have more money. And if you're always saving for something that you want, you will spend less money. And that's what Doug is talking about. You've got a trip planned a year in advance, and you've got always have something that you are saving for. You will definitely spend less money. So you've said in one of your biggest takeaways for your clients is getting a peace of mind. What does that really look like, Doug?
It's funny, it's anticlimactic. We don't talk about money anymore. We don't think about money anymore. We got it handled. We know where we stand. I did have one client, I just love her. She goes, I'm really stressed out and I don't even know what I should be stressed out about, but I know I'm stressed out. And, it was around finances, but, what should I be worrying about? Well, we know where everything is. We know we're current on everything. We've got a system in place. We don't just pay our credit card bill balance when it's due. We pay the whole thing off. That gives us 6 weeks before the next payment's due. And so I think that's the biggest thing, that people just say, I just don't have to think about it. I sleep well. I know I'm winning. I'm okay. And I have that anticipation. And I think that's one of the strongest things is
Yeah.
the anticipation of better things coming instead of struggling, saying, how come we don't have anything left?
Yeah.
And
Better things.
your comment on waste was people could save up to 15% just by paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Better things coming. Definitely peace of mind, Doug, are on the way of that journey. So we have less than a minute, but I know that if somebody's listening, well, there are a lot of people listening right now. So if you were listening right now, I'm sure you're probably thinking, what would it cost for my husband and I to set up a consultation? Doug, what would that cost be?
Nothing. I do a free get acquainted meeting just to talk about what your goals are, what your concerns are, what you'd want to do, just to see if it makes any sense to talk any further. So that's a 45-minute meeting.
And I knew that answer. And that's why you're here on the show, because of the contribution that you make to our listeners. So, Doug, thank you again so much for being here, and look forward to talking with you in our last part of the show when we have our panel conversation.
Thanks. And if you don't want to call into the show, you can just go to schedulewithdoug.com and it'll show my calendar.
Thank you. Schedulewithdoug.com, and you'll get right to Doug's online calendar. We need to make sure that we're chiming that into the show, Doug. Great information. So thank you.